This is Life Rewired, the brain injury podcast for survivors by survivors. And now your host, Rob and Ashley. Hi, I'm Rob, and this is Life Rewired. Joining me again this week is Janet Shane. How are you today, Janet?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Rob? And I want to say thank you once again for bringing me back. I have thoroughly enjoyed and been delighted with the time I have spent with you.
Oh, my pleasure. The door is always open. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about your life. Last week we talked about your brain injury. This week we want to talk a little more about the things that you're doing now. You're a life coach and a mindset coach.
Life/mindset.
Yeah. So we want to talk about that, and we also don't want to gloss over the fact that you are an author as well. 2 times published, correct?
2 times international bestseller on Amazon in book collaborations with 25 other women in each of the books that have stories of overcoming, hope, and inspiration.
Awesome. And the books are called, could you hold up a copy of the book for us?
Unstoppable. This is volume 1. And then Unstoppable, volume 4.
So head over to Amazon and pick those up. You won't be
Or
sorry.
send me a message and I will get you a signed copy that will also have a bookmark in it and a personal message, and the amount that I have charged will include the shipping, because I found out how to mail book rate and mail it for much cheaper than its media rate.
Oh, good. You'll give me your information after we're offline so I can put that in the show notes as well as on the screen. So when you're watching this at home, you'll see the information below right now. So let's talk about you becoming a life coach.
Yes. After my mama passed away 7 years ago, I decided I had talked with my husband. He doesn't remember the conversation. So who had the head injury? But I know I had the conversation about starting my own travel business, and it was in network marketing. And I wanted to achieve this certain rank that you would get residual every month. And I wasn't hitting it. I was doing well, but I couldn't get there. And the common theme that I kept hearing from people hitting it was you had to find it from the inside out. And I was like, inside out? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering yourself.
And I'm like, and so when I wasn't hitting the things, but they knew I was taking the action, a coaching program and had recommended that I get some mindset coaching. And I was like, it was like 1 call a month, and I could join these group calls, and I went in, I thought with an open mind, come to find out, not so open, because my experience with like group stuff, like with a head injury, I go and I'm the cheerleader. I don't get a whole lot out of it. I mean, I love being a cheerleader, but I wasn't receiving the help to help me to go through what I was struggling with, because they would be like, woo, 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 and I'm like, and I would just turn into this light, and so I told Mom, I said, it doesn't work. And so when I went into this kind of group coaching, I thought, oh, I'm not gonna get anything out of this. Well, I joined and I got something out of it. And I was like, oh, well, this is really pretty cool. And then they have a course. I can do the course and then get on the call so I know what we're talking about. Oh, this is really pretty cool. And so then something happened. I think I think my dad had then also had passed or whatever, and I was getting coaching, and then I like looked into like maybe getting some more coaching because the platform was nice enough after my mom passed away, or my dad, after my dad had passed away, to actually talk with me and give me coaching and help me, even though I wasn't paying for it
Hmm.
because I was grieving, and they
Yeah.
respected that. And I'll never forget, it was 2021, so we weren't COVID, but we were coming out of COVID and people were still
Yeah.
funky. And this one lady, like, she tripped off on me and was like, just like went off at me and was saying really nasty things at me. And I finally just got in my car and drove away because, like,
Hmm.
she wasn't nice. She wasn't nice, and I truly believe that hurt people,
Yes.
and whatever she was experiencing at that time, she was a stranger, so I don't even know who she was, but I prayed for her, but I felt awful as a person that I had, because when it was something about, I remember yelling at her and saying, "Well, I know or what something because my niece is a Marine and we believe in God and in faith and service and blah 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 blah." I don't. That's all I can remember. That was like back in 21, but I remember and they allowed me an extra coaching. So then I looked into getting a little more coaching. Well, then they had a special running, so then I got that special so that way I would have more coaching. And then I had my first session, and the coach is like, "Well, really, 12 weeks is really the what we want, and not just 6." And I went, "Okay." And then I got the 12, and then I talked with another coach after one of her calls, because I could call in and have extra coaching sessions. And I said, "Well, what you do is like so cool." And she's like, "Well, tell me a little more about what you think about that." And I was like, "Well, you hear people, you know where they're at, you listen to where they are in their life, how they're struggling, and then you give suggestions on how they could possibly look at it from a different angle
Hmm.
and move through it." And that is like the coolest gift you can give anyone,
Yeah.
to help them to move through the challenges and to see that the challenges aren't a curse.
Hmm.
There is good in everything, even the challenges. You might have to look hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it also starts with how, like, your person, like your body, and how you're looking at it. Now I in the last months here, going through my hip and whatnot, I have learned to just, when something happens, I kind of really just start to laugh, and I'm like, "Okay, there's something good here. I'm gonna find it." It's like a little search and rescue, like one of those little, like, where's the word, like word searches, but I'm
Yeah.
looking for the good thing in it.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, and so I look for the good, and when I don't, then I feel yucky. Then I let the bad take over,
Mm.
and then I stop. I'm all about breath, and it's not something that you physically have to do to be in the now, but it is a great reminder, at least for this girl. And then and what that does is it empowers me to have a choice and to make a response instead of a reaction. Well, I
Yes.
left where I was. Well, anyhow, I talked with that girl, and she said, "Well, how about you talk with so and so that's in the certification? Maybe you should become a coach." And I went, "Oh, no, 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 no. Thank you, but no, 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 no." And I'm like, and she's like, "No, seriously." And I'm like, "Fine, I'll meet with him." So she sent me this video, and I saw how people were becoming coaches and how they were helping people. And I was like, "This is so cool." Like,
Mm.
so cool. Well, then I had to call the gentleman. Guess what? his extension number was the last 4 digits of my parents' phone number. Well, I'm all about signs. Well, that's a sign.
Yes.
And then he proceeded to tell me that this coach that had recommended me for the coaching program rarely ever recommended to anyone.
Oh my.
And so I was like, so I took the plunge. Probably should have talked with my husband. I didn't talk to him on that one. But in hindsight, I would do it again. I absolutely, because I continue every day to consistently try to think to improve the way I think through either a book, through a podcast, through a course that's on the platform, or tap into one of those group calls again.
Yeah.
And, and even on there, like I've done it now for 3 years. There are people, you get to know people's voices. I don't know what they look like. I don't know where they are at, but I've got to know them. And one of the last mastermind calls I had joined or whatever, the lady's like, you have come like so far. Like so far. Like you're not even the same person. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I mean it's hard for me to acknowledge your growth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm like, I grew up on a dairy farm, and so I would yell dinner like every night because I was not walking out to go get them. And so
Yeah.
like I got lungs, okay? And so it was a thing in our house. I slam doors, and I would, when I want somebody, I yell for them. I don't go get them, I yell for them. Well, when I started to implement the thing that helped me to the 3-step system that I like to teach about living in the now, I don't yell, I don't slam. I follow through on things. And I never was able to do that before. Ever.
That's awesome.
My husband said, you don't know how many times I've wanted to write a letter to the hospital and say, you did a great job of teaching her, and she does everything you taught her, but you didn't teach her how to follow through. And now I'm not perfect, but there is a better chance that I'm going to follow through. But I got called out earlier today. Yeah, I've been turning lights the last few days off after you. So, I'm not perfect, but I do the best. But it's definitely way better than what I ever was before I ever learned about this 3-step system to implement in my days. And then there's also just limiting beliefs and how to let go of them. But ultimately, letting go of limiting beliefs is just a band-aid.
Mm.
And the 3-step that brings you into the present or living in the now ends it, because you cannot self-sabotage or suffer when you're in the now. I've tried, and you cannot. I have tried multiple times.
That's a good point.
You cannot.
Yeah.
Because you're living exactly where you were created to be.
Mm.
God wants you in the now, not in the past, not in the future, but right now.
I agree with that. And I have coworkers that worry.
I was a worrier.
And I'm always, they hate to get my input because I'm the guy that goes, yes, but you're worrying about something that has not happened and probably won't happen. And if you go back through all of your emails through the last 8+ years, everything that you thought was a negative never even came to pass. So why are you going to sit there and ruin your day and probably your weekend when there's no need to?
Well, I want to commend you for that. Not everyone has that ability to see that, because from my perspective, from the coaching perspective, them living in the future and being worried about it, That's them tapping into their mind and body connection,
Mm,
which is your ego. Not I'm better than you, ego, but just the connection of your mind and body is called ego,
yeah.
which I learned too. I didn't know anything about that either. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. And then you have your spirit. You're coming from a state of spirit. They're tapping in, trying to live in where most people like with the mind body connection. And that will tell you truth. No, it will tell you some things that are true. Programs that you have seen to be true, that you have created to be so that you can get through life and be true. But it's not the truth with a TH at the end.
Mm. Oh yeah.
I learned that too. There's true and then there's truth.
Hmm.
That in itself can make anyone stop to think. Like the a lot of the monkey brain or chitter chatter too that we have, pay attention to it. Is it true or is it the truth? Because most of the time it's just true. And then I have learned the best thing to do is to just sit down, write it out, get it out of you. Even if you write it that you can't ever read it, just getting it down and out.
Mm.
God has done something with the vibration of writing it out, putting pen to paper, down and out, and you can just let it go then because you've got it out of you and you
Yeah.
don't have to hold on to it anymore.
I've heard of counselors that have told me in the past, because your mind will race at night. I don't know if yours does or not, but mine does too. I'm thinking about, did I do this or do I need to do that? Or, not that I'm worrying about it, but it's like all these things that you want to do. And my counselor told me, she goes, write them on a piece of paper. Like, okay. She goes, well, those will still be there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts are still there on that piece of paper. You can sleep while your thoughts rest next to you.
Yeah, a lot of actually non-head injury people like say make a list before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So that way it's there and you don't have to think about it. You can
Something
trust that
so
it's
simple.
there.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, when it's time to go to bed, I just go to bed. No, I pray and then I go to bed. Like while I'm in bed, I like pray and then the next thing I know, it's morning. I sleep very well. I inherited that very well from my father. So
I used to sleep before my brain injury, but it's not as much as I used to. Some
really,
nights, some nights, well, just like a few nights ago, I got 2 hours and 7 minutes of sleep.
that's not enough.
No.
You need 7 to 8 hours. And I don't just say that to say that, but you need 7 to 8 hours to
Mm-hmm.
recoup your body, or otherwise your body can't recoup. You're
No.
aging yourself purposely. Do you really want to do that?
I'm only 4.
Oh, 4 with a 0?
Yeah. Actually, in February it'll be 5 with a 0.
Oh, honey, life's only just getting good. I'm more than you. I'm a
Two
5 with
eight.
a 1.
Well, we're really close in age then. So, uh, but if you take off the days that we were sick and divide that by 2, we're about 2.8, 2.9. Age used to bother me really bad, but now I'm
Yeah.
at the point where I just tell people I'm like kissing 9-0. So don't you look great for your age?
Oh, I know. I remember when I turned 25, it was like the most depressing year of my life because I was like, I'm a quarter of a century old and I have nothing to show for it. And that's exactly how I felt. And my husband's like, what do you mean you have nothing to show for it? You've gotten through all of this. You survived some of the most traumatic stuff anyone could ever survive. And
Mm.
you're like walking, talking, functioning human being, and they didn't think you would be. And I was like, yeah, so I mean, it didn't mean anything, and he always says like mentally I'm like 10 at least 10 to 15 years younger than I am physically, but for a while there, my body felt like it was an 80-year-old, and I was mentally like 13. So, and now at 50-ish, I'm probably, according to him, I'm still like, my late 30s. So physically, I don't feel like an 80-year-old, even though I had my hip redone. I want to be vibrant. It's important. Like, even if it's only like I get up and I faithfully have a morning routine. I get up, I thank God for the day, and then I go into my stretches and my strengthening exercises for my hip. It's non-negotiable. Like, because otherwise I won't get it done. If I don't do it right then, it doesn't happen.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And then I go into journaling, and then I go into breakfast, and then meditation, and then I run my day. And then I'm trying to be better about my evening routine, because do you do an evening routine?
A lot of my life is routine. Because if not, I'm completely out of
Well, I get
sorts.
that, but you're allowed to be outside of that.
Yeah. I make
And
mistakes, big time mistakes when I'm out of my routine.
but
I'll get,
we talked earlier about that. Mistakes are okay.
yeah.
You just learn from them.
Well, we learned a good big mistake last night. We went and
Oh,
got our haircuts, and that was out of my routine. So I take medication at 8 o'clock in the evening. Well, when we got home, it was past that. Got a haircut that was out of my routine. And my wife says, "Don't forget to take your medicine." I went and grabbed my medicine, and she found it about a half hour later in the refrigerator. I had taken my morning medicine, so I had doubled my medications yesterday. So we're we're gonna have to come up with a new plan, a new backup plan for when things aren't going as routine as we like them to.
separate containers. AM, PM.
Here's AM. AM's right here in our office because that's where I spend my mornings,
Mm-hmm.
and then our PM is in the kitchen. I don't know what I was thinking. I just grabbed the PM.
Well, it just,
It happens. It
yeah.
does.
I mean, you obviously lived through it, so it wasn't
Yeah.
life or death, but
Yeah.
just chalk it away, okay?
Right.
Next time, be no, 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 no. Actually, I am going to give you a tip
Okay, I'm listening.
that has empowered me. What
Okay.
did I say empowers me?
To look in the mirror and tell
To
yourself,
breathe.
oh, breathe.
Take a breath before you, when it's out of your routine, take a breath.
So basically, you're clearing your mind.
It's bringing you into the moment, and you will be able to make a choice that is in alignment.
I'm going to do that.
And if it doesn't work, then you let me know, because it usually should work. Okay, it has for me. But it really, yes, that's why I'm able to follow up and follow through on things,
I'm going to
because
try
of
that.
that, of being in the now.
Yeah. I'm going to do that.
I want to know. Like, you need to stay in touch, because that's trying it in an aspect that I've never tried before. But I really feel that would help,
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
because it's when we do things habitually, like put our keys away.
Mm-hmm.
We do it with habit, that we don't register that you've done it. Like, when I set my glasses down somewhere and I can't find them, I'm like, oh, I wasn't present. Because if I was present, I would know exactly where I put them. And I read a story. There was a gentleman that he had this habitual of, like, where his keys went, and da 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 da, and they were all ready to go to church. Where are the keys? The
Oh.
keys aren't hanging there. They were searching the whole house. Come to hear, he had evidently grabbed it off, and they were in his pocket. It's like the cell phone. Where's the phone ringing? Where's the phone ringing? Oh, it's in my pocket. Same thing. But truly, that's the power of being in the now.
Yeah.
Is just you know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to make a choice. And let me tell you, coming from a survivor mode, that is a gift. That is a total gift.
Oh yeah. I'm going to do that. Anytime I get anything that's out of the routine, I'm going to just step back, breathe, and we're going to
And then
let it go.
see where your brain wants to go.
Yeah, I will do that. It has been such a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome. It has been a joy to speak with you.
Yeah.
I feel like we're old friends. Like, isn't it crazy when you have one commonality?
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is we have found so many commonalities just off camera that
Yes.
so many connections made, and you're always a welcome guest. And I do hope that you will come back anytime.
Will you invite me, and I will be there, because I literally journal every morning, and for my evening routine is to journal too. Okay.
Yeah.
My goals, but I write in there every day. I am so happy and grateful now that I am speaking on stages, on Zooms, and podcast weekly, because I want to share my message.
Yeah. And your message needs to be shared. You're such a positive, inspirational person, and that's what I like to surround myself with, is people who are lifting others up, and that's exactly what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you for having the platform.
Yeah.
To give me the opportunity to share.
Yeah.
This is the first podcast I have done for survivors, so I'm really excited about this.
Yes, and you're going to do more. One day you're going to have your own podcast. I don't know what
Yes,
you're going to do.
I probably will, because
I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to do something that's going to be really great. I can see this.
I love it.
Yeah.
God is good all day, every day.
Yes. So I'm going to play Ashley now. YouTube, subscribe, like, do YouTube stuff. We'll see you guys next week.
Just hit the subscribe button, okay, and follow us, because we want to share our message with you and anyone else. If you want, please share it with someone you know that would get something out of this too.
Hey, there's our weekly Ashley.
I do what I can.
See you guys next week.